Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I'm your host Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a good night. I want to welcome you back to my Bruce Springsteen triple play. And in the third installment of this triple play, I'm going to be doing part two of my ranking the albums. Now, in part one, I covered albums 21 through 11, a lot of albums, a lot of music, a lot of variety in that list. And it was a long list. So in part two, I'm going to be covering albums 10 through 1. Now, some of my choices are going to be a bit, I don't want to say controversial, but some of you are going to say, what the hell, right? But again, this is my list, right? It's just my opinion. Now, in the 1980s, Springsteen basically had hit his musical peak in terms of commerciality and album sales and concert ticket sales with the release of Born in USA. The album had 12 tracks, and out of the 12 tracks, seven were released as singles. I don't believe that he has copied that type of commercial success. I don't think that he's really looking for that or that he looked for that after the success of Born in USA. So again, we are going to be covering numbers 10 through 1 in part 2. And kicking off part 2, coming in at number 10 is big surprise, Born in USA. Born in USA was released on June 4th, 1984. Again, a juggernaut. You could not turn on a music television channel. You could not turn the dial on your radio. You could not walk into a record store without seeing posters of Bruce Springsteen. He was all over the news. This album catapulted him and the E Street Band to superstardom. The first single was Dancing in the Dark, with the video directed by, I do believe, Brian De Palma. That came out in May of 1984. His first official video. Videos that he released prior to this were basically performance-based videos, with the exception of the videos that he did for Nebraska. But Born in USA was just a beast all unto its own. It was a different entity. Um, it magnified his superstar status times 1,000. Okay. This was also coincidentally going to be the first concert that I ever went to, but we couldn't get tickets. And concert uh, tickets, in terms of pricing at that point, were anywhere between $22 to $35. Okay. Big difference from 1984 to 2024. But I digress. I mean, again, 7 singles, Dancing in the Dark, the title track, Cover Me, Glory Days, I'm on Fire, I'm Going Down, My Hometown. If I've missed any singles, please forgive me. But I mean, just brutal in terms of what was coming at you. I mean, I also like the album tracks like Darlington County, Working on the Highway, uh, just brilliant. Amazing. No Surrender is another good track on side two. Bobby Jean, which I do believe, if I remember correctly, starts off side two. This was a good album. What the reason why it's number 10, I was going to say number 4. Number 10 for me is commercial overplay. I mean, 7 singles. 7. For me, if I have the singles, why do I need the album? Right? I can just listen to the singles. You know, for me, the trick with these albums, and I understand that Columbia wanted to capitalize on, the success of the album, but for me, the trick to it is to release 2 or 3 songs that best, capture what the style of music of the album is, and but again, what do I know? I'm just a consumer, right? So that's number 10. Coming in at number 9 is Tunnel of Love. released on October the 2nd, 1987. This was seen as a much anticipated follow-up to Born in the USA. The E Street Band at this point had been disbanded. They would not reunite fully until the release of The Rising in 2002. Although he does use members of the E Street Band on Tunnel of Love, this album is largely, mostly, or 100% credited to Springsteen as a solo artist. This album, to me, total opposite of Born in USA. In terms of subject matter and themes, it's a more inward album, more introspective, more reflective album. He was going through a divorce with his first wife, Julianne Phillips, at this point, and the songs reflect that. I mean, it starts off with Ain't Got You, which is an acoustic led and also harmonica driven track, only 2 minutes and change. And basically, he's saying he's got all the money in the world, all the status, all the fame, the gold records, the platinum records, uh, everything he would ever want. But he's also got women throwing themselves at his feet. But the one thing he doesn't have is the one person that he wants to be with in his life. Okay, so he's turning his back on fame at this point, right? Other songs of note are the second track on the album, Tougher Than the Rest, which was a single. And he's saying in that one track, we've all been hurt. I know you've been hurt. I've been hurt. But if you're looking for someone that can give you stability and love and acceptance, look my way. I'm the one that's for you. Other songs I know, the title track. I love this video. And whenever I listen to the song, I'm thrown back into 1987. I'm back in high school. And even the intro with the drumming, the rhythm, the pattern on it, the drum pattern, almost has a bit of a hip hop feel. Very bouncy, very ass shaking kind of feel. And it's just an individual that's saying he's lost in terms of his relationship with his girlfriend or his wife. One Step Up is another single, beautiful, slow ballad type of a track where he's saying to his wife, obviously these songs were directed at Julianne Phillips. He's saying that we've made mistakes. We keep hurting each other. Why do we do this? We need to walk away. We have to. I've made mistakes. You've made mistakes. Why are we hurting one another? We have to walk away. Brilliant Disguise is another track, the lead-off single from the album. The video itself features Springsteen. It's done in black and white, and Springsteen is sitting there with an acoustic guitar and a microphone. He's singing live to a backing track, and it's like, what the hell? Like, he is bearing his soul. And it kind of felt watching the video. I was going to say this, but I remember watching the video on Boxing Day of 1987 and just watching it and thinking, musically, something is different here. Something is turning, almost like we're turning a corner in terms of what's going to be coming out musically. And nothing's going to be the same, right? I mean, the only thing constant in life is change, right? And this song captures the emotion of what he's going through with his relationship perfectly. And it's quite sad, actually. That's number 9. Coming in at number 8 is Working on a Dream. Working on a Dream was released on January 27th, 2009. It's described by Steve Van Zandt, member of the E Street Band, the third part of a trilogy of albums that were produced by Brendan O'Brien, starting with The Rising in '02, continuing with Magic in 2007, and culminating and ending with Working on a Dream. And what Steve Van Zandt was talking about was he was referring to production-wise, lyrically, in terms of themes and in terms of production techniques that Brendan O'Brien and Springsteen were enjoying in the studio. Fantastic album. Brilliant. Gut-wrenching. Starts off with the lead-off track, 8-minute opus called Outlaw Pete. The lead character in the song is basically saying that no matter what avenue he tries in his life, he keeps coming up with the short end of the stick. And, you know, people are viewing him as a degenerate, that he will never get anywhere. So he might as well become an outlaw, start stealing, among other things. Uh, really gut wrenching, really emotional, really emotive, personal. And with every album, Springsteen lays his heart out on his sleeve. And this album is no different. It's no different. Other songs of note on the album, there's one track that's an outtake that ended up on a soundtrack to a movie called The Wrestler, okay, which was released as a single, sorry, for that soundtrack. Other songs of note are the title track, My Lucky Day, which was another single, Queen of the Supermarket, What Love Can Do, This Life, and Life Itself. Beautiful album, just amazing. Again, very emotional, very gut wrenching, and a perfect slice of Americana in the eyes of Bruce Springsteen. That's number 8. Coming in at number 7 is Wrecking Ball. Wrecking Ball, no, not the, uh, Miley Cyrus track. Wrecking Ball was released on May 6th, 2012. Fantastic album. The lead off track, We Take Care of Our Own, very rhythmic, very, I call it ass shaking. Just a beautiful track. This one track garnered 3 Grammy Award nominations for Springsteen. I do remember seeing him do this live. Just an amazing album, produced by Rob Agnello. Other songs of note are Easy Money, Shackled and Drawn, Death of My Hometown, just brutal. Rocky Ground. I mean, every song on this album, along with the other albums, but this one in particular, talks about uh, society and the relationships that people have with one another, and how they struggle to make ends meet. Specifically, the one song, Jack of All Trades, where the character is saying that he's qualified to do all these sorts of jobs, manual labor, carpentry, landscaping, but he cannot seem to find a job that will give him financial stability, or no one will give him a chance. And for Springsteen, it was sort of his take on, I guess, criticism of the US government and how they were dealing with these individuals, and what programs they were giving them to help them get ahead, or the lack thereof. Right? That's number 7. Coming in at number 8, or sorry, 6 is, sorry, long day, guys. Coming in at number 6 is High Hopes. Released January 14th of 2014. High Hopes, another album produced by Rob Agnello, along with Springsteen and Brendan O'Brien. A fantastic album. Members of the E Street Band are on the album, along with Tom Morello of Rage Against the Machine fame. Tom Morello's brilliant on guitar, just ripping. He is credited with co-songwriter on the album, and he's featured on the majority of the tracks. Just brilliant. High Hopes is another sort of rhythmic track. Get your head bopping, in terms of the in terms of the rhythm of the track. Harry's Place is another fantastic song. American Skin, 41 Shots. You want to talk about gut wrenching? This is another scathing look at the so at society in the U.S., specifically on how the police um, target certain demographics. And at one point in the track, there's a mother that's saying to her son, you know, when you go out and if you're stopped, please do everything that the cops tell you to do. Show them your hands, be polite, don't be cheeky. I want you back home in one piece. I don't want to be visiting you in the morgue. And it's very, um, very gut wrenching when you hear it. 7 minutes and change of just heartfelt and very honest and raw emotion in this track. Other songs I note are Just Like Firewood. There's a reworking of The Ghost of Tom Joad, featuring again Tom Morello. It's listed as the electric version. Beautiful song, just great. Down in the Hole and Heaven's Wall is in two tracks that again focus on a man's look at society and how uh, you know how we can improve what is going on in society in terms of political change, activism, trying to get ahead in life, and the steps that we can take in order to do that. And sometimes they work, and sometimes they don't. You know, that's number six. Coming in on number five is Magic. Magic released on September 25th, 2007. Again, produced by Brendan O'Brien, uh, featuring members of the E Street Band, but credited to Springsteen solo. I forgot that this album existed. Man, was I ever like, was I missing something here? Holy shit. This is a fantastic album, featuring the lead off single and track Radio Nowhere, where it basically the individual in the track, in the song, sorry, is feeling disconnected from what's around him. Um, and he's dying to feel something, to be reconnected with the people around him, with society as a whole, but he's not sure it's going to be happening. This album overall is amazing. It's melodic, it is catchy, hooky, makes you think. A lot of the production that I've heard with these albums with Brendan O'Brien, he uses a lot of strings in terms of uh, not classically oriented by any stretch, but a lot of use of symphonic strings, with which to me just added different breadth of scope to the tracks. Just fantastic. Other songs of note on the album, basically the entire album is fantastic. You'll Be Coming Down, Living in the Future, Your Own Worst Enemy, just great. Gypsy Biker, Girls in Their Summer Clothes, which was the second single from the album. And, you know, depending where you live, you go through seasons of change in terms of the weather. And for me, around April, late March, early April, the weather starts to change. It gets warmer, and you start to come out of hibernation, and you start to go, go on walks and start to bicycle and do things. And, people are coming out of their shell, and you start to breathe in the air, the fresh air that's out there. You smell the flowers. You see, you're out in the sunlight. You take on a different attitude, and you look forward to the days getting longer. And girls, wearing skimpy outfits, shorts, bathing suits, and the innocence of all that when you're a kid, even when you're a teenager. And to me, Girls in Their Summer Clothes encapsulates all of that in this one track. It's just brilliant. Um, I'll Work for Your Love is another one. Just fantastic. Magic, the title track, the shortest track in the album, 2 minutes and change, with some disturbing lyrics. It's got to be said, disturbing imagery, but still great. Last to Die is another one that is gut wrenching. Long Walk Home is another good track. Um, Devil's Arcade it ends off the album at track 11 with some of the pressings. Devil's Arcade is featured as the last track, but there is a hidden track called Terry's Song. What happened was that Springsteen had sent basically given the track listing to the record company, and they started to do the artwork for the album cover. But he came up with another track called Terry's Song, which is a dedication to one of Springsteen's assistants who had passed away, and he wanted to include it on the album, which he did. And it's listed as a hidden track. So beautiful song, very heartfelt, very emotional, just great. Coming in at number 4 is Nebraska. Nebraska was released on September 30th, 1982, 2 years after The River, at that point, the juggernaut that was The River, double album, major tour for the album. With Nebraska, it's just Springsteen with a 4-track, multi-tracking himself, playing guitars, glockenspiel, bass, uh, keyboards, you know. It's a very dark album, very sparse in its production and its playing. What happened was he had written 10 demos, and Springsteen wanted to go in the studio and record them properly. It's going to be a solo album. The E Street Band is not involved in this at all. But when he heard the demos, he thought, I can improve on this. These songs are perfect the way they are. Um, the lead-off track, Nebraska, in 4 minutes, bloody hell. It talks about it tells a story of a true life story of a serial killer, 19 years old, who goes across America and goes on a killing spree with his 14-year-old girlfriend. And he's basically going to do it until he's stopped. He knows it's wrong. He doesn't care. He's just going to do it. And they stop him, and the outcome is he is sent to the electric chair. And his only request is, if you're going to fry me, please have my girlfriend sit on my lap as you do it. So, very dark. Other songs of note are Atlantic City. Beautiful track. Very emotional, very haunting track in terms of its overdubbing of vocals. And it's basically talking about someone who's trying to get ahead in terms of finding a job to support him and his wife, or him and his girlfriend, and he's not doing it. He can't find a job. So he meets this guy, and he's going to do a favor for him. He doesn't tell his girlfriend what it is. And with the lyric of everything dies, baby, that's a fact. And maybe everything that dies someday comes back. It's very haunting, right? Other great songs on the album are Johnny 99, My Father's House, Highway Patrolman, which talks about a guy who is a highway patrolman, and he's basically forced to put his brother behind bars because his brother's turned to a life of crime, and that you can't close your eyes to what is going on around you, and you have to go by the letter of the law, even if it means putting your family in jail. Really haunting track. Um, and really hard to listen to. Other songs of note are Open All Night, which is basically, a fast romp of a song in the Chuck Berry kind of a vein. Good song. And the album ends off, also, there's another track I forgot to mention called State Trooper. Again, you know, this guy gets stopped and he's telling the state trooper, look, just please let me go. I need to get away. Just look the other way and go. I won't say that you let me go or that you give me a pass. Please just give me this one chance to get away and start fresh in another state or another city. Um, which again is very haunting. The album ends with a track called Reason to Believe. Now, with the preceding 9 songs, they're all basically stark and dark themes, very haunting. He wanted to end the album on a very up note, right? Which is why he wrote Reason to Believe. And that's another great track. Nebraska is an underrated album for me. Very, really good. Coming in at number 3 is Darkness on the Edge of Town. Released June 2nd, 1978. There was a 3-year gap, I should say, sorry, between Born to Run and Darkness on the Edge of Town. Springsteen had sued his management at the time. He had sued to get back the rights to his own publishing, and he felt that he was being cheated. And this is a darker album in terms of themes compared to Born to Run. Starts off with Badlands, and that song is basically saying you got to get what you can, however way you can. Adam Raised a Cain is a fantastic track, another rocking track. Something in the Night, more subdued track, very laid back, but also to me very haunting song. Racing in the Streets is another good track. The Promised Land is another one. Prove It All Night, just a lot of these songs too are relationship-based tracks, right? And of course, there's the album closer, the title track. Now, before I go on with the ranking, there is a 6-disc box set reissue of Darkness on the Edge of Town. I have it. In there, you have unreleased tracks, live recordings. You also have a documentary on the making of the album Darkness on the Edge of Town. You also have a 21-track double disc album called The Promise, featuring, again, 21 unreleased tracks that were recorded by Springsteen and the E Street Band at that time, sorry. If you can get your hands on it, bloody brilliant. It's done in like a notebook kind of format, and beautiful. I have to fish it out to listen to it again. I'm gonna fish it out. I'm gonna get Bob to help me look for it, because you know what? I miss listening to it. This album solidified Springsteen as a top-notch rock performer in my eyes. That's number 3. Coming in at number 2 is Born to Run. Released August 25th, 1975. This was where Springsteen hit his mark. The previous 2 albums did not do well. He was basically ignored on the charts. This album went ballistic. He was in the public consciousness at this point. He was on, magazine covers, etc. Songs of note on the album. This album is great, top to bottom. You have the title track, obviously, right? Beautiful. 10th Avenue Freeze Out, you know, again, this album overall is a perfect slice of Heartland rock and Americana. Uh, after also other songs that note on the album, Thunder Road, Jungle Land, where, the image of Mary dancing across the porch as the porch door slams, listening to the radio, and he's there to pick her up, and he's telling her, "Don't turn me away. I can't face myself tonight. You know what I'm here for. Get in my car and let's just go. Let's just be together, you and I, and just enjoy each other's company and be together and forget what everyone else says about, that we're not, to be together." Sorry. Other songs of note are She's the One, Meeting Across the River, Night, all fantastic tracks, and Backstreets. You know, great album. Great album. That's number two. Coming in at number one, you probably guessed it by now, is The River. The River, for me, was the album that first introduced me to Springsteen. I'll get to that in a sec. Released on October 17th, 1980. It was originally going to be a single album with the title of The Ties That Bind. Springsteen wrote like 9 songs and handed it into Columbia. And he realized that something was missing, like he had more to say. So before they started processing it to be pressed and all that, he took it back and said, "I got to write some more stuff." 20 tracks overall, double album, brilliant, brilliant. Uh, Starts off with The Ties That Bind. Every song on this album is, in my very humble opinion, a masterpiece. Again, The Ties That Bind, Sherry Darling, The Jackson Cage, Two Hearts, Independence Day, that's side one. Hungry Heart, the lead off single from the album, just amazing. Out in the Street, um, just amazing, just great. A very sing along type of track, very hooky and catchy chorus. Crush on You is another one. You Can Look But You Better Not Touch, just great. I Want to Marry You. I Want to Marry You. Sorry, is another one. Uh, Disc one ends off with The River, and basically it's talking about a guy who is trying to find work. He works for the county, and he meets his girlfriend, and they marry at 19, and he is basically living his life the way his father did. He followed in his father's footsteps. Okay. The River is very gut-wrenching, right? Because it basically talks about a guy who doesn't see any way out in terms of what he's doing with his life. That's end of side two. Side three starts off with Point Blank, the fun rollicking of Cadillac Ranch, I'm a Rocker, fantastic track. Fade Away, Stolen Car, ends off side three. Ramrod is another one. The Price You Pay, the 8-minute plus Drive All Night. I love this track. I love this track. I think it's fantastic. It's very emotional, very gut-wrenching, very personal. And I remember listening to this in 86 and thinking, I'm not catching the full meaning of this track, but I know that whatever's behind, in terms of the lyrics, he's feeling it 100%. Okay. And it ends off with Wreck on the Highway. Every song on the river, to me, is a masterpiece. And again, The River was also released as a box set, a deluxe edition. In that deluxe edition, you get a video of a concert, soundboard recording, unreleased officially, but you've got Springsteen up front and center, and the sound on it is immaculate. And there's also the single version of the album that would eventually become The River, and it's titled The Ties That Bind. Okay, so if you can get yourself a copy of the box set for The River, which goes under the title of The Ties That Bind, and the deluxe edition of Darkness on the Edge of Town, please, you'll be doing yourself a favor. Get those two albums in the box set formats. You will not be disappointed. So there you go, guys. Wrapping up my triple play on Bruce Springsteen with part 2 of my ranking the albums. Please put down in the comments below what your favorite Bruce Springsteen albums are from part 1 or with this part 2. And let me know. Again, no right or wrong answers, just opinions. So I'm going to say goodbye for now. Please click like and subscribe and hit the notification bell to keep yourselves on top of any new content that I've got coming up. And I will be doing, again, more shows with Bill Schuster soon. We're going to be finishing up our top 5 albums of the 1990s, covering the years 1996 to 1999. We're also going to be doing our show on Yes and tackling Tales of Topographic Oceans, sorry, with the subtitle Triumph or Turd. Again, that was Bill's idea in terms of the title. So please stay tuned for that. Anyways, I am Armando Venditti signing off. Hoping you guys have a great night, and I will see you soon with another video. Bye for now.